Hey everybody, it's Cliff. I wanted to give a quick walkthrough of Harvest for anybody that's not up and running on it yet, just so you can get integrated with Basecamp and Harvest and start tracking your time. There are a few more little added features, bells, whistles we can get into later on in the week, but this will at least get it where your projects are entered, you can start tracking your time, and we can at least get up and running with it. So first things first, Google Chrome is the best browser to be using for Harvest and Basecamp integration. It's got a couple of extensions, things that seem to work really well with it, and it just seems to have the least amount of hiccups. So first things first, there is actually a Chrome web extension for Harvest. So you'll need to add that, which is super simple. Just go search for Harvest, and it's this Harvest time tracker one. Just add it to Chrome and you're up and going, and you'll see the Harvest icon get added up here. So once you're good there, go into harvestapp.com. If you haven't already accepted the invite that I believe Shirley would have sent out, be sure to accept that. Just register, create your account, and then when you go in, just sign in. I kept the same username password that I used for Basecamp just to keep it simple in my head, but of course do whatever you'd like. So once you get signed in, I'm just going to walk you through the process of when you get assigned a new project, what you need to do so that it's also in Harvest and you can start tracking your time. So you receive a new job, and I'm actually just going to pull up one of my old ones that predates Harvest, and I'm just going to put it in just so that everybody gets to see what the process looks like. So I'm going to go back a little bit, and we will use lanyards. So once you've put in your project into Basecamp and you've got everything set just like you normally would, the most important thing to be able to sync a Harvest job with Basecamp is your job name needs to be the exact same, counting this department name. So just be sure to copy and paste this entire thing. So copy. And then when you go into projects, under Harvest, select a new project, the client, which is just the department, and if the department's not already here, you can just pick new client and type in whatever client you need. But since this was for PR, I would just pick PR, go down to project name, paste. You don't need to worry about any of these other fields for the time being. And under tasks, so these are just all the tasks that are just classifications for the time that you'll be putting in, and you can put in as many or a few of these as you want. For our purposes, since we just need the time put in and there's plenty of spaces for additional notes, you're good to go here. So after all that's done, just click Save Project, and when you click Save Project, right up here you'll see a little synced come up, which is right there, which that means the project was entered and it did sync up with Basecamp. So now once you're back in your Basecamp job, if you were to add a to-do list, it should show up a little time tracking icon in with it that you'll be able to click there and just enter in your time. But the best thing to me for entering your time and keeping it done quickly is where this extension comes in. So now I've got this job entered and I want to track some time for it. I just click on the Harvest icon and I scroll down and I find lanyards. Pick whatever task it is that you're doing. So if it was design, print, prep, revisions, whatever, and you can even put in exactly what it was that you did. So we'll say changes for John. And when you go to type in your time, if you want to enter it in manually, you can either do this by decimal or by putting in the time. So if I put in 1.25, that's going to register it as 1 hour and 15 minutes. Or if you just want to do it by the minute, if you work, say, 45 minutes on this, you can type it with a colon and 45, and that'll put in 45 minutes into the job. Save entry and you're done. Or if you don't want to do that and you actually just want to start a timer as soon as you start work, you just click Start Timer, and now a timer's running for this job. And whenever you finish, you just stop the timer, and that entry is already in. And that's all that you have to do. You just switch up your projects as much as you want. Anytime that you need to pivot to something else, if you have a timer running, you would just stop the timer. If you don't have one, then you just go into whatever project you want and enter in the time for it. And that's how you keep track of your time. And one added feature, after a project is complete and you don't want it populating this massive list, because as you can imagine, just like the sidebar of Basecamp, this little guy, if we don't want this drop down to become this massive list, all you have to do is you go into your project. Say you've got a project that's completed. So we'll go back into that lanyards job. Now that that is done, you can go into actions and archive. It will keep your time entries all in Harvest, so Shirley or David, whoever, can still pull them, but you'll see what it does. It removes it from this listing, so this list will only have active jobs on it as long as we stay good about archiving our jobs, which, as you saw, takes one click. So anyway, that's at least getting up and running on Harvest and putting in your time. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me tomorrow. I'm going to try to come in a little bit early just to troubleshoot if anybody needs help. If anyone needs anything else, feel free to shoot me an email.